Welcome to I'm Fighting in Thailand, the best news and analysis covering the economics and infrastructure of Muay Thai. I'm Matt Lucas, journalist, commentator, and ex-Muay Thai fighter. Make stronger fighters, make stronger people. Today we will be doing first part of our series on COVID-19. I'm not sure how we'll structure this quite yet, so see how things develop. A little bit of news and background first. If you'd like to reach me, you can follow me on Instagram, MattLucasBKK, or email me at Lucas@gmail.com. Thanks to all the people that have supported me so far, sharing the podcast, leaving reviews. If you'd like to leave a review, that would be super helpful. You can do so on the iTunes store. I want to personally thank a few people: Vinny Scotto, Patrick Rivera, Dave Brooks, Sean Madden, Woodell, Galano, Christian, and a few others for helping me get going with my camera that recently broke. So thank you guys for that. After years of hard work, studying, and being in the game, I've decided to publish a new book. It's out already. It's called I'm Fighting in Thailand, a guide to the sport in the motherland. The clear guide goes over scoring, matchmaking, picking a gym, fight styles, gambling, Muay Thai culture, and more. You can get your copy off of Amazon. Also, thanks to my sponsors, Nak Muay Legend, for their continued support of the show. They create some great Muay Thai apparel, with portions of the proceeds going back to the legends they celebrate. All the superstars have been paid for their images as well. You can check out their gear at www.nakmoylegends.com. You can use On Fighting to get 15% off your order. So just a little bit of background. COVID-19 has been going throughout the world and causing a lot of changes. I am not a medical professional, so I will not comment about any of that. But we can look at some of the economic impacts of this and how it's impacted people's daily lives. Right now, here in Thailand, a lot of the gyms have been closed. There's going to be a big economic fallout from this. Tourism is definitely down visibly, and obviously with a lot of the sports centers closed, it's going to change the lives for a lot of Muay Thai trainers and fighters. Today I interviewed a few trainers and fighters from around the world. Janine Pilla from Philadelphia, Andrew Parnham from Australia, owner of PTJ Gym and CM Sydney promoter, Omar Halaby, fighter out of Fairtex Training Center in Pattaya. Also Henry Lee from New York City, who is at Phuket Fight Club, Phuket top team right now. So without further ado, the interviews with them. So thank you, Henry, for coming on the show today. I appreciate you taking your time out.
Yeah, of course.
So you've been in Thailand for the last 3 months, training out Phuket top team. How has the virus impacted you and your daily life so far?
So far it's pretty normal. The only thing that's impacted me is having fights canceled last minute. So I was supposed to fight earlier this month on the 7th, and then I was cutting weight and everything, and then I find out that it's been canceled. Then out of nowhere, they brought it back after a week of cancellation. So again, I was training hard, cutting weight. Then something bad happened. One of the announcers caught the virus, so they canceled it again until further notice, or 2 weeks. But, you never know. And then, so the coaches at my gym were like, all right, let's try to stay active. So we searched for a local fight at Bangla. Got a fight, but then the prime minister decided to cancel all events. So now, third cancellation, and but other than that, it's pretty chill.
Mm-hmm. Does not having the fight impact you economically?
The reason why I'm here is to stay as active as I can. So that kind of sucks, but economically, getting paid to fight does sort of help. But not fighting doesn't really hurt me as bad,
And How have you seen the virus impact other people around you, like your trainers and your stablemates?
So my stablemates also have the same issue with fights with same as me. So right now they're not have being able to fight. They're kind of worried that they might have to leave early to fly home because a lot of countries are closing their borders or just in lockdown. As for I feel more bad for the trainers because a lot of people are leaving and they make their money through privates. So when there's no tourists here or people training, they're kind of like in trouble money wise.
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen with the trainers because they have no money?
Um, you know, Phuket Top Team is like a family, so I'm sure if there's no people coming in to do privates, everyone's just gonna help each other out. Buy groceries for each other. I know for myself, I tend to get them like snacks and stuff and food sometimes because I know they don't eat as much and they work all day. They work really hard. So I'm sure we'll all group up together and have like family meals and try to stay afloat.
Hmm. Um, can you tell us a story about like how the virus has impacted your regular routine?
My regular routine here, it's pretty the same every day. I have less sparring partners now because people, of course, have to rush home to see their family. The only thing that's kind of impacting me is worrying about my friends and family back in the States because there's a lot of racial attacks going on Asians right now, which is kind of stupid because everyone should be like banding together to fight this virus or whatever. That's the only thing that's like mentally messing with me, like worrying
Um,
about my friends and family.
how is your family reacting, and family and friends reacting to you being out here when they're abroad?
They're not too worried about me because they know I can take care of myself. Basically, everyone's kind of, making sure they don't pass the virus to their family members who don't have a strong immune system. My mom always checks in on me to see if I'm okay. My brother also, and it's pretty. I don't feel any worries here at the
Hmm.
moment.
And have you experienced any racial stuff out here, like seen anything or firsthand experience?
Um, Honestly, no. I haven't
Hmm.
seen any attacks on anybody. Maybe some joking around here and there in the streets, but like it's nothing really serious.
Yeah. Cool. Is there anything that you would have wanted to talk about that we haven't talked about?
Um, Not really. I like to mention that everyone should start spreading positivity because like the whole world's getting affected and everyone's there's a lot of negativity going around. We should all kind of like stick together and like try to help each other out. Just spread positivity because we're all gonna beat this no matter what. There's gonna be hard times definitely, but it's kind of fun to be living in a time like this because this never really happens, and of course we're all gonna live through this. So that's
Cool.
about it.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Thanks for saying that. Thank you for taking your time out, Henry.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. If anything, hit me up.
Thank you, Andrew Parnham, for coming on the show today. I appreciate you taking your time out.
No, my absolute pleasure, mate. It's pretty dark times at the moment, but yeah, it's nice to hear your lovely voice online.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear from you as well. You've owned PTJ Gym for over 10 years now, and also the promoter for CM Sydney, which has had regular shows. How has coronavirus impacted you and your daily life so far?
To be quite honest, the last, I'd say 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks has been pretty intense. We were supposed to have our Siam to Sydney show this Saturday coming with it's probably our biggest show to date, to be quite honest. And we had a WMC title on the line with Singh Payak and Tyler Hardcastle from Darren Reese's gym. And, I guess last week it all started to come to reality, the seriousness of the situation when, man, well, I was losing sleep, trying to, wake up, checking news headlines, checking this, checking that, waiting for government announcements and stuff as to whether or not we should proceed, and then also kind of juggling the business decision as well as the, I guess, social awareness, consciousness decision as to whether or not to proceed. So, in the end, like we were forced to not proceed based on a 500 people or more gathering rule from the government. But to be quite honest, we would have pulled it anyway. It was just didn't. The biggest thing for us was having so many of the top gyms trainers all in the one place at the one time. The potential for disaster for me to, in effect, bring down a whole industry if 18 trainers all came in contact with um, someone who might have been infected, all of their gyms would have shut down. I just don't think I could have lived with myself if that had been the case. So after I spoke to them all about it, that everyone was really understanding, and then we had to can it. And now, since it was a bit of a weight being lifted off my shoulders on that respect and being able to
Mm-hmm.
actually make a final decision. And then now I can really focus on my bread and butter, which is the gym, really. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all about the gym.
So, just sort of focusing on the promotion a little bit. So, what is the plan? Will you just delay the card? Will you just sort of scrap it and see what happens? What is your what is your thinking right now in terms of that?
In terms of the show, so we host three of them a year, and basically what we decided was to postpone, I guess, the whole show. So instead of having our March event, we pushed it through to our June event. Um, but the reality of what's about to take place, recession's imminent, but I say it's going to be worse than that. And to actually ask people to fork out money come June, to pay for tickets to come watch some guys fight. I mean, come that stage, people are really going to be struggling. So, forecasting what's to happen in June, it's it's going to be pretty tough for everybody out there. And my heart and thoughts go out to everybody who's being impacted at the moment because it's a really stressful time.
Yeah, and you've mentioned the impact on trainers. How have you seen it impact like Singh Payak and Palang Chok so far, and some of the other sort of trainers and people in the community?
So, my in my gym, we've also got some casual trainers. So, Jamie Elaine and Yolanda Schmidt, who are part-time trainers here, and basically they've got day jobs as well, which is fantastic. So that's keeping them afloat. They're still working here at this stage, and they've been amazing in the way that they're being able to adapt to the changing environment and the rules and stuff that are coming through. We're doing everything possible to make the gym more user friendly and people feel comfortable in coming in. Chalk and Sing, it's I mean they're awesome, man. Like they're my full time staff, and we treat them like family, and they've been so cooperative and um, they're just being able to adapt into anything that we put in place, and we're having regular meetings and catch ups, and we're having to explain to them, what's happening over here with the government and the announcements and how we kind of work around it. We're future proofing some of the stuff we're doing, which is really tough, but and it's just changing daily, man. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really tough. But I guess on for them, uh, I mean, they've lived lives of hardship before, so at least at face value anyway, they've been really helpful and staying quite positive, and it's been really nice to be around people like that. The reality is that they can't go home; they're stuck here due to some announcements that came out yesterday. I don't think we're allowed to leave, or they're not allowed to leave. And also, it's been happening for the past year. As you know, the Thai baht is way too strong, or the Australian dollar is way too weak, whichever way you look at it. And being able to send money back home has been really challenging for them. Staying afloat here, as well as keeping people afloat back home, has been challenging, and it's even taken, Australian dollars just taken another couple of points of a dive overnight as well. So, some interesting times ahead.
Yeah, and you mentioned a little bit of the impact on your business. How has it impacted your business so far?
Um, so financially, I think everybody's in a similar boat in that, well, I say Sydney, we're in a hotspot, as they call it, I guess. Anyone near these hotspots are really taking a dive with suspensions and cancellations and everything coming through. Like, as of kind of Sunday night, it all really started to come through. Can't blame some of them. I mean, if people's lives are being impacted, then so be it. A lot of people are on work from home and they're on full employment, so that's been fantastic. And actually, last week, so before all this happened, the last 2 weeks, the gym's been absolutely cranking because people are on work from home and they're bored. And so they come in, sneak a session in, go home. They've been training like demons, but now with people being forced to stay home, or they're a little bit more cautious about coming in, we've had to change the way that the gym's structured. We have to finish classes a little bit earlier so that we can clean between each class. We're reducing the amount of people hanging around in the gym so that face-to-face interactions drop off a little bit. Our lifers, I guess, the gang that's here and have been here, and the fighters and everything, mate, they're so positive, and um, it's been kind of heartwarming to have them around because we're blessed with the job that we do. I absolutely love my job, and even if we have a really tough day in kind of forecasting about what could potentially happen in the future, after having a session with the guys and being around that environment, and it's really kind of uplifting, and it kind of helps you kind of push on to the next day.
Hmm. And you sort of alluded to this, but what do you think some of the long-lasting impacts of the virus in this time will be?
Um, in Australia, I guess it's pretty similar to Thailand in some respects, but you basically got like two forms of gym owner. You'll have the gym owner who's a businessman and potentially has other forms of income. They might run their gym more like a hobby, a hobby in inverted commas. I mean, it's their passion, so they love it too. I'm not degrading them by any means, but it means they've got another form of income. So for them to close down and do whatever they need to do is an easier option. For the people who run gyms and it's their livelihood, um, it's really challenging, and there's some pretty dark times ahead. Trying to figure out, what you can and can't cut, bills wise, suspensions and cancellations, and all of that factored in, and even the people that are coming into the gym for now are like, they're looking for us to be able to give them the uplift and keep their spirits high. And at the same time, you're kind of being faced with some things which could kind of, drop you down as well. So I think it'll be really interesting because we've just got no idea how long it's going to last for. Uh,
Yeah.
if like for now, we're sitting on a swing here. I know I've got friends in LA and that, and people are already shutting gyms down now. And um, when when are you going to be allowed to open back up again? And it's all about consumer confidence too, right? Like if someone feels comfortable to come back into a gym, fantastic. They'll be back and they'll be in there training their guts out. But if there's no end in sight and no, I guess, cure and what is going to make people feel comfortable and confident about coming to the gym to be able to have a hit out, then it's pretty dark, man. Like
Hmm.
we might be able to open back up on our own accord, but are people going to feel comfortable about coming in? So,
Yeah.
and in Thailand, I look at it now over there. You got same type of deal of people living in or working, running some of those gyms over there that have been just shut down now for 30 days. Like all the trainers are got sent back home if they can go back home. It's a similar situation where you've got richer gym owners who potentially got multiple businesses who might be able to push through it, and after a 30-day closure, come back in, get their staff back up and running, and then the others who are living, hand to mouth, week to week, have got their Thai trainer. Like the trainers who are coming from the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they're sending them home, there's all these trainers going back home. What's the future got for them? Like they can't go overseas to work because they're stuck there. They've got no tourists going over there to train.
Yeah.
There's no fight for anybody because I've heard that the local councils are now being told over there they're not allowed to even put fight shows on. So it's a really difficult time for any sport, not just our sport.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you taking your time out to talk to me about this stuff. Was there anything that you wanted to say that we didn't talk about?
Not really, man. But I just sending out nothing but love and best wishes to anybody involved in any sport, whether it's Muay Thai, football, combat sports like BJJ and everything like that. I really kind of wish everybody the best of luck into what is starting to look like a pretty bleak few months. Hopefully we can all come through it together, and it'll be interesting to see how things progress, week by week. Thanks, mate.
So thank you, Omar, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for hosting me, Matt.
No problem. So how has the virus impacted you and your daily life?
Actually, it has impacted me. I had a fight on March the 1st. I was preparing for a month. I went back to Lebanon to do the visa for Japan because I can't do it in Thailand. So I prepared for a month, and 3 days before the fight was cancelled by the government. So it's out of control, and we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, your bout was going to be in Japan along with Fanta as well.
Exactly. I was preparing too much, but it happens.
Yeah. And did you get rescheduled for the fight, or what happened with it?
Actually, yes. 1 week after the fight was cancelled, I knew that I would be fighting at Max Muay Thai on April 4th, but without audience. So it was the stadium was closed to the public. But also 2 weeks before the fight was cancelled, and everything was closed in Thailand, from boxing stadiums to pubs to massage places, everything.
Yeah, and how has it impacted your daily routine?
Actually, I have been training in the morning and in the afternoon, and sleeping in between, and preparing for a fight. So now my life changed because I'm not training. I'm just training outside the gym because the gym now is closed until the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen it impact your trainers and stablemates that much, and how has it impacted them?
Yes, it has impacted because my teammates also had fights and they were cancelled. So now they are waiting till the problem is finished. And the trainers also, since you don't have a fight, they won't be that excited or motivated. And the gym now is closed, so there's no job for them to do.
And I know you've been out here in Thailand for the last 2 years. What is it like back home in Lebanon, and why have you decided to stay, or what is that situation like?
But before I come to Thailand, when I was doing the visa, I was in Lebanon, and the corona was spread in Thailand and in China. Lebanon was good, but now Lebanon is bad and maybe worse than Thailand. The country is all closed and the gyms are closed, so I can't go back, because if I go back to Lebanon, I cannot come back to Thailand. So the best thing to do is stay now in Thailand, train outdoor, and do what I have to do.
What do you think is the long-lasting impact of the virus and what's happened?
Hopefully it will work. After 2 weeks, everyone's staying at home. Hopefully the virus will decrease the impact on everyone, and everything will get back to normal. But nothing is for sure or confirmed.
Thanks for your time. Was there anything you wanted to talk about that we haven't talked about?
No, actually, I just hope everyone be safe and takes care of themselves, and keep training outside, outdoor, or at home.
Okay, thank you. So thank you so much, Janine, for coming on the show today. Well, how has the virus impacted you and your daily life so far?
Cool. Thanks for having me. I mean, everything feels like it's gotten flipped upside down. Uh, so like work has completely transformed in every aspect. So I work a 9 to 5 where I'm a teacher. I teach at Temple University and I also teach at Limbs Academy. So all of those have stopped and have completely switched exactly what I'm doing. My training came to a halt. Um, just kind of everything stopped. We're stuck inside and it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, for sure. You were talking a little off air about some of the changes you're making in your teaching. It sounds pretty crazy. But I guess focusing a little on the gym, how has that changed? What sort of things have been implemented with the gym?
Yeah, so the gym has obviously changed immensely. When it started to roll out kind of last week, it felt a little slow, and Charlie and Kate at Eat Limbs were kind of rolling with the punches as much as they could. They were kind of before they put us all on like a shutdown and closed all non-essential businesses. They were offering open mats where like 6 people were allowed in at the time to just hit the bag. And then they would allow like 15-minute increments between people so they could disinfect the entire place. But that was only able to run for a day before they went into shutdown mode. So they've been um, renting out Thai pads and strength equipment to students to be able to work at home and in parks. You see a lot of kids, you see a lot of people in the neighborhood holding pads for each other in parks, which is cool. Um,
Um, oh,
no, and
go
then
ahead.
Charlie and Kate have been going live at the time where there would be classes and doing strength routines and kind of like upbeat uh, Muay Thai insanity bodyweight workout routines as well to kind of keep the community engaged as much as possible. But everything's come to a halt. We had so many fights get canceled. All the tournaments are getting canceled and pushed back. So it's
Did you were you training for any specific bouts? Was your schedule messed up at all?
yeah, I had Warriors Cup at the end of March, and Warriors Cup seemed to be the first one to really make the decision to cancel or postpone. So that was a bummer. And then I had USMTO at the end of April that I was really excited about, and they held off as much as possible, but they recently just said that they're postponing until September if everything kind of picks back up by then.
And what in terms of your own training, how have you structured it? Are you renting Thai pads and stuff and working out with someone you're close with, or what sort of changes have you had to make?
Yeah, so I've ramped up my running a lot. So at Eight Limbs, we experienced a fire not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like we just got socked in the head a few months ago and now we're getting hit in the belly. Like it kind of blows. But so I kind of am going back to the routine that I had when we didn't really have a space during the fire. So I'm running a lot, averaging anywhere between like 7 to 10 miles a day. I do like a yoga routine in the morning, and then I just set up like a small training area in my basement where I have like a kettlebell that Kate and Charlie rented out to me. I have a set of Thai pads, and then I have one of my training partners, Derek, who works remotely from home, and we're about on the same level when it comes to. We are both pretty self-isolated. We work from home. We don't really interact with many people. So he and I are going to start training together and trading pads in my basement.
And go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
And you said you also work at the gym itself, and as a trainer, how has that impacted you and your economic situation? Has it at all?
Not necessarily. I don't really rely on that position for the money. I do love the community though, and it is a bummer to see those students kind of like lost in the community again. Like I said, since from the fire, we just started to ramp up and rebuild and get that really like homey feel again. So that's the only thing. But there are other people that work at the gym that do rely on that as their main source of income. And for those, I'm like really kind of aching for.
Yeah, have you talked to them at all? What is their situation like, and what will they do?
So there are a few people, and it's kind of like some people will work at the gym and then they also work like service industry jobs. So it's kind of like a 1-2, where they've lost both positions. And it's like a lot of people have been filing for unemployment in like mass waves. There have been GoFundMe accounts started. I've reached out to my close friends that I could and offered to like, hey, I'm still making a paycheck. I can help you in any aspect that you may need it. So it's kind of that being able to support them in any way, whether it's like emotionally, financially, if I can, while they kind of figure out what's going on.
And you mentioned the Eight Limbs fire. It was last year, correct?
Yeah. When was that? November-ish, maybe.
And you guys were successful in rebuilding. Why do you think you were successful, and what sort of things did you learn in that first experience of crisis that you think you can apply to this one?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things that made that kind of like successful to rebuild afterwards is the community. The community is so insanely strong. Not only just the Eight Limbs community that we have here, which is, it feels sometimes like it's fucking unbreakable. But the Muay Thai community as a whole, they were able to start a GoFundMe account, and really, really, you saw the amount of people give to that account and support. And then the community itself came together in everybody using their own skills. So we had grant writers on the team that were applying for grants, and there were people that have carpentry backgrounds that were helping us build out the new space. And Kate and Charlie are so quick to keep their community engaged. So there was never radio silence. They were always really communicative. They found a space to train in the meantime very quickly. So that was awesome. They kept people active and they kept people engaged. And they were able to turn around. They found a space really quickly. So I think the fact that they were able to move as fast as they did. I think some of the things that the hardships that we're going to be facing with this time that are different is we can't really interact with each other. We can't just go to a separate space. So I think them being quick and engaging people online is huge. And I think, like I said, the community, the Eight Limbs community as a whole is pretty strong, and supportive of each other. So I know a lot of people are reaching out to each other and supporting them in this time. And a lot of the stuff that we learned the last time is like, if you want it bad enough, you're willing to stay the course no matter kind of what comes at you. Even if
that's definitely a good lesson. Just wrapping things up, was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So many gyms have been shuttered, and it's like really hard. And I think one thing that we need to try to harp on is that gyms all around the country, all around the world, that it's really important that if you are a member of those gyms, to keep your membership going if you financially can. So if you have been located and you're like working at home and you're still getting a paycheck, it's kind of important to keep those memberships up, because a lot of those gym owners are kind of in a panic mode right now. And when you think of like Eight Limbs just coming off of fire, Satan Gym coming off of fire, it's just like be as supportive as possible, whether it's monetarily or in any way, kind of shape or form.
Cool. Well, hopefully things will get better in Philadelphia and around the world. Thanks so much for taking your time out, Ginny.
Yeah, thank you.
So that concludes our last interview in this show. Just a little bit about where I am at. Max Muay Thai has closed. It closed on Tuesday. So there's no more shows at least until April 1st. Fairtex closed as well. Again, it closed on Tuesday, March 18th. And it will reopen unless there are some other changes on April 1st. So things here in Thailand are definitely on a bit of a soft lockdown right now. All non-essential businesses are closed. Some supermarkets and hospitals are still open. Obviously, this is going to really, really impact people financially. I'm lucky in a lot of ways that I have a relatively good income from a variety of sources, although with both Max and Fairtex closing down, things are definitely up in the air. Anyways, it's unprecedented times. The economy will definitely be ravaged from this, especially the very vulnerable, like Muay Thai fighters who, a Max Muay Thai fighter relies on an income of 10 to 20,000 baht a month. If they have no income, they don't have a lot of options. They might return to their homes from their gyms, probably back to Isan where there's, a lot more boredom and poverty in the region. Also less health access. Then just a little bit of an update since recording this episode. Henry's gym, Phuket Top Team, closed down. Fairtex is closed with Omar. 8 Limbs Muay Thai still remains closed, and PTJ gym in Australia is open. The rules for Australia are a little different right now. So thank you so much for listening. I will be doing another weekly podcast, potentially interviewing the same people or going to different people or circling back. Not quite sure yet. This has been I'm Fighting in Thailand, the best news and analysis covering the economics and infrastructure of Muay Thai. I'm Matt Lucas, journalist, commentator, and ex-Muay Thai fighter. Make stronger fighters, make stronger people.